So how does a company right at the heart of the AI revolution actually think? And more importantly, what happens when its own core beliefs get challenged by reality? Well, we're about to get a rare inside look from Sherman Woo, who heads up the developer platform engineering at OpenAI. We're going to break down the huge strategic shifts happening inside the company as they figure out how to build for a truly global scale.
Okay, first, let's just try to get our heads around the scale we're talking about. That number you're seeing, 800 million, that's not a download count or some vanity metric. That is the number of people actively using ChatGPT every single week. I mean, in terms of speed and sheer scope, that kind of growth is it's completely unprecedented.
And to put an even finer point on it, Sherman Woo just lays it out there. This isn't just another popular app. We're talking about a utility that 1/10 of the entire planet uses on a weekly basis. This insane reach is the backdrop for literally every single strategic decision that OpenAI has to make.
So how in the world do you even start to manage that kind of scale? Well, the first thing you have to understand is OpenAI's fundamental structure. See, they aren't just one type of company. They're actually two. They're running as both a direct-to-consumer product company and as a foundational platform for thousands of other businesses.
Think of it like this. They have two main highways for distributing their AI. The vertical path is ChatGPT, right? That's their own app designed to reach as many people as possible directly. That's how you get to that 800 million user number. But then there's the horizontal path, the API. And that's where they give developers the building blocks to create their own applications, which in turn can reach an even wider, more diverse audience.
Now, you might think that sounds like a conflict, right? You're basically competing with the very developers you're trying to empower. But Sherman Woo argues it all ties back to their core mission, the one from Sam Altman and Greg Brockman. The goal is to create AI and then spread the benefits as widely as humanly possible. And when you look at it that way, a flagship app and an open platform, well, they aren't in conflict at all. They're just two necessary paths leading to the exact same destination.
Okay, now let's dig into the really juicy stuff, the big strategic shifts. We're going to start with a huge foundational myth that, honestly, the whole industry and even OpenAI itself once bought into.
Just a few years back, the dominant belief was that we are heading towards one single, all-powerful model. People called it the God model. The idea was that this one intelligence would eventually become so good at everything that specialized models or fine-tuning would just become obsolete. Why bother when one model can simply do it all?
But here's the thing. That's just not what happened. The new reality is the exact opposite. We're seeing a massive proliferation of models. The ecosystem is diverging. It's not converging into one thing. What we're getting is a whole portfolio of different intelligences, each one really, really good at a specific task, instead of one giant monolith.
And you can see this shift happening right in OpenAI's own product lineup. Codex, it's built specifically for code. GPT-4 and 4o exist at the same time because, well, users have different needs for speed versus power. DALL-E is a completely different beast for images. So specialization isn't some far-off idea. It is already a core part of their strategy right now.
This explosion of specialized models leads us straight into the second myth they had to bust. The old thinking went something like this. If one supermodel can do everything, then what's the real value of my company's own private data? Well, it turns out that data is now more critical than ever before.
Sherman Woo really puts his finger on the central opportunity and, let's be honest, the challenge for businesses today. They are sitting on these huge, unique treasure troves of data. The big question is, how do you actually use that data to create a real competitive advantage when all your competitors have access to the same powerful foundation models?
The answer is in how fine-tuning itself has evolved. You know, early on, we had supervised fine-tuning, or SFT, and it was useful for tweaking things like the model's tone and style. But as Woo explains, the real big unlock came with reinforcement fine-tuning, or RFT. This is the game changer. This is what lets a company inject its unique, proprietary data deep into a model's DNA, creating state-of-the-art performance for its specific niche. And suddenly, your data isn't just relevant, it's your competitive moat. Okay, the final myth we're going to tackle is all about how we actually interact with these models. What was once dismissed as, a simple trick has now become a really sophisticated engineering discipline all on its own.
The old belief, which was kind of fueled by these scaling laws, was that models would just get so incredibly intelligent that you wouldn't need to be careful with your prompts. The model would just sort of mind meld with you and know what you wanted. Prompt engineering was seen as this temporary crutch that would totally fade away.
But that discipline didn't disappear at all. It just evolved. We've moved from what we called prompt engineering, which was all about the art of crafting that perfect command, to what Sherman Woo calls context engineering. And this is a whole different level. This isn't about just telling the model what to do anymore. It's about giving the model the tools, the resources, and the data it needs to reason with. You're not just giving instructions, you're actually equipping an intelligent agent to go out and solve a problem for you.
All right, so we've busted 3 pretty big foundational myths. What happens when you put all those pieces back together? Well, a very, very different picture of the future of AI starts to emerge.
This completely reframes their entire business. According to Woo, OpenAI doesn't really see itself as an app company or an API company. At its very core, it's an intelligence company. The real product, the fundamental thing they're selling, is this ever-improving intelligence. Everything else is just an interface to deliver that intelligence to you.
Just look at their major products through that lens. ChatGPT, it's a conversational interface. The API, that's a programmatic interface for developers. Codex is an agentic interface for coding. Sora is a visual interface for simulating worlds. You see, they're all just different windows, different doorways into the same core intelligence. So what's the big takeaway here? It's pretty clear. The future we were all told to expect, this one, single, monolithic AGI that knows and does everything, that is not the future that's actually showing up.
Instead, the future's shaping up to be an ecosystem. It's a whole network of specialized models, each one excelling at different things, and we get access to them through this growing variety of purpose-built interfaces.
And that really leaves us with the most important question of all. If the real product is the intelligence itself, and everything we see is just an interface to get to it, what's the next interface? What's that new way of interacting with this intelligence that's going to unlock possibilities we can't even begin to imagine today?